Hey there, this is Teagarden with episode 72 of the Unveiled podcast. Thanks for joining me. Last episode, I started a series on fighting for your marriage, and I encourage you, please fight for it. You're worth it. Your marriage is worth it. I talked about knowing who your real enemy is, which is Satan. He is the one who is trying to destroy your marriage actively. But take heart because God is on your side and he is greater than Satan. And that's what I wanted to talk about today. In every battle, there are two sides, right? If there weren't, it wouldn't be a battle. Who wins the battle, though, is often determined by who the commander is. Which side has the better commander? The commander is the one that makes up the battle tactics. He's the one who keeps up the morale among the troops. He is right there in the trenches with you and wants victory as much as or even more than you do. So in the battle for your marriage, who is your commander? If you stop fighting your spouse and start instead fighting for your marriage, you're going to want to choose the best commander. And God has a track record of victory. Time and again, when I hear people's stories about how God completely turned their marriage around, it's because God spoke to them and they responded. They were listening, they were seeking, God intervened. You need God to turn it around. Time and again, when I'm out of sorts with Grant, it's God that changes my perspective or my actions, or he humbles me, makes things right again between us. The enemy is fighting against you, so you've got to be clear on who you're listening to. Is it Satan that is behind you, baiting you to further strife in your marriage? Or are you listening to God who's going to set you on the right track? We really have to be aware of our thoughts. The beginning of 1 John 4 tells us that we need to test the spirits to see which ones are from God and which ones are from the enemy. In verse 4, it says, "You are from God, little children, and you have overcome them, because greater is he that is in you than he who is in the world." If we go with God, we will be on the winning side. God knows exactly what's going on in your marriage, and he knows your hurts, and he knows your husband's hurts as well. He knows how to restore it. So there is hope. Sometimes we get so battle weary that we just want to give up. And when we lose hope, it's almost impossible to keep on fighting. And I totally understand that. But there is hope because all things are possible with God. God makes all the difference in any scenario, and he is on your side. So I encourage you to give your despair and your anger to God and let him take it. And if you're tempted to get angry at your spouse, channel it towards Satan and tell him to stop messing with your marriage. Knowing your commander not only directs you, but God will also fight for you. Our God is a very loving Father, and he wants the best for you. He's gentle and kind. Even when he corrects us, he's gentle and kind. He never, ever gives up on us, and he never will leave you nor forsake you. So when you get knocked down, he is there to pick you up. This all requires a mental shift, okay? Remember that battles are fought and won beginning with our minds. I've talked about that before. Mentally shift from an attitude of defeat to one of victory with God on your side. And to help you shift and fight despair, I encourage you to declare these truths. Speak them out loud. Declare that God is for you. Declare that God is for your marriage. You have to believe it and continue to say it until you believe it. Declare that he who is in you is greater than he who is in the world. Declare Romans 8:31. If God is for us, who can be against us? Declare Romans 8:37. In all these things, we are more than conquerors through him who loved us. Are you fired up yet? I am so tired of seeing Satan destroy marriages. So let's start seeing some victories. They don't happen overnight, but this is where it begins. You must change from an attitude of defeat and despair to one of hope. in order to move forward and see victory. Okay, Satan wants you in despair and defeat. Without hope, you're not going to be motivated to do what you need to do, which is often hard things. May the God of hope fill you with all joy and peace as you trust in him, so that you may overflow with hope by the power of the Holy Spirit. That's one of my favorite verses. Next episode, we're going to talk about what weapons to use when you're fighting for your marriage. Okay, these declarations I gave you are just the beginning. Using the right weapons is so important. So tune in next week for that. I encourage you to rewind and go back to those declarations and say them out loud with me. If this episode was helpful to you, I would ask that you please give it a like if you're watching it on YouTube, or if you're listening on a podcast platform, rate and review it so that others can find it. I appreciate your help in getting the word out. If you have suggestions for things you'd like me to talk about, you can email me at Anne, at synergiamm.com, or you can post them on our Facebook group, Synergia Marriage Mentoring. Remember, you are never alone, and greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world. Go in joy and peace.